According to the CDC, annually 700 people die of hypothermia. I don't want to be one of those people. Okay guys, I'm about to get in the cold plunge, but you know what? I think I'd much rather get into this sauna right here because it's warm, it's comfortable, and this, I'm not sure about this. I don't want to die with hypothermia, but I'm gonna do a cold plunge here at the Hack. And Marion, he's the general manager here. He's gonna tell us a little bit about the Hack, what it is, and how he got involved with this place.
The Hack is we're a biohacking facility, okay? Biohacking is something that we're doing all day, every day. We're either pressing the gas on the gas pedal that accelerates our age, or we're taking the gas off that pedal that decelerates our age, right? And here at the Hack, what we want to do is keep you living as long as possible while feeling as young as possible and looking as young as possible.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah. So you were telling me earlier, you were telling me a little bit about your jiu-jitsu training, right? Because I know like a lot of the viewers here, they're into martial arts and they want to know like, what can a cold plunge do for me as a martial artist, and how did it help you? Because you were telling me a little bit about that, and I was like, wow, man, that's impressive.
It can help with the ability of processing adrenaline.
Yeah.
Right, because you're always getting that adrenaline dump, not just before, but during, right? Not only that, but we experience pain all day long because of it. You're getting bent like pretzels. People are trying to take off your arm, your neck's being squeezed, your back's being crushed. That takes its toll. So you're gonna experience that chronic pain throughout the whole day until you're able to get back into the mat and start feeling good again, because we all know that when we start rolling again, we start kicking again, that's when we start to get loose. But during the day, that's not the story. This can help alleviate a lot of that mess by reducing that. It will reduce inflammation. And that inflammation is what's killing you. That inflammation is what's causing all that pain. So when we get like a broken arm, right? All that pain, that's acute inflammation, right? Imagine little bitty broken bones all over your body. It's not broken, but you're getting these dings. You're having these acute little inflammation attacks all over your body that's causing that pain, and that can get that to go down and give you a better quality of life.
And you're tearing muscles like as you train, right? Your muscles are getting torn.
And well, you're tearing muscles so to help with the recovery. And that's part of that. That's part of that information.
So how long should someone stay in? What's the minimum? Well, we all know maximum is like 10 minutes, right? But what's the minimum you can stay in for to benefit?
I give people 3 goals for the first time. Okay. Because when you first hit the water, the first 30 seconds are going to be the worst. Okay. So if you can manage to make the 30 seconds, you can consider yourself pretty good. That's impressive.
Okay.
Right? Because you made it past the hardest hump.
Okay.
Right?
So 31 seconds is good.
31 seconds is great.
31. I'm gonna try to stay in that 31 seconds. Okay.
And then from 30 seconds to a minute, it starts to taper down ever so slowly.
Okay.
Right?
So you feel a little more comfortable.
A little bit better.
Okay.
And then after a minute, so the first goal is 30 seconds. The next goal is a minute.
Okay.
Because after a minute, it stops to taper down and just plateaus.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And then my next goal would be 2 minutes. So if you've been in there for a minute and the next is just a plateau, make it a minute. Really go home feeling like you conquered the world, because you'll feel that way. So I would recommend maximum 2 minutes, unless you're built different. Stay in for as long as you can comfortably.
Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. That's my goal today, right? 30 seconds. If I can stay in 30 seconds, I'm psyched.
A hidden benefit of the cold plunge that not too many people talk about is it will kill a little bit or all of your procrastination, which is what will stop everyone from progressing in whatever it is they're trying to do in life. And what I mean by that, well, because there's no good time really, mentally, to get into cold plunge. You can't take 3 breaths and that's the perfect time. You can't. The bathroom can't be any cleaner. You always look for something to do besides getting to the cold plunge because you don't want to get to the cold plunge. But if you start getting to the cold plunge at a certain time, at a certain day, like clockwork, whatever task you're doing throughout the day that you want to put off, you instinctively don't do anymore because it's not as hard as doing the cold plunge. That's my take on it.
Well, that's interesting because one of the things that I wanted to talk about is mental resilience, right? I know I've been hearing that the cold plunge is great for mental resilience, right? One of my big things for you guys is like, what can we take out of the dojo? So we got the training, we do the cold plunge and to help for our body for the training, but then it's so much more than just for the martial arts. Like this, you can take it out, like procrastination.
Yeah.
What are some other things you think that we could take out of the cold plunge?
Just like you have involuntarily body functions.
Yeah.
My heart's pumping, whether I want it to or not. I'm breathing, whether I want to or not. I guess I could take control of my breathing, right? But for the most part, there's involuntary things that are keeping me alive. I'm also doing voluntary things that are also keeping myself alive. I'm not jumping into traffic, right? That would be stupid. I would die. So I'm consciously doing that. Involuntary happiness with the cold plunge, what I mean by that is it gives you a good foundation to make the choosing to be happy a little easier. And I'll tell you what I mean, because you're constantly getting dumped with dopamine as well. Okay? When you get out of that cold plunge, if you've ever done one before, you know that about 5 minutes later, you start to feel very, very happy. You start to feel very, very good. If you hadn't done the cold plunge, one time in my life, I did the cold plunge and I forgot I did the cold plunge. And 5 minutes later, I was feeling really good. I didn't know why. I thought it was the strangest thing. And I was like, wait, I just did the cold plunge. If you dump that dopamine inside your body day after day after day, and you have this high doses of dopamine that you normally didn't have, that's like building this foundation that will keep you involuntarily happy.
A couple of videos ago, I did the art of leadership in the martial arts, and I talked about these 4 chemicals. And of course, dopamine is one. And then in the book, it was called Leaders Eat Last. And Simon Sinek wrote that book, and he talks about how dopamine is increased in your body when you have to do something that's very difficult, or physically or mentally, and that's the cold plunge.
Everyone experiences this through runner's highs, working out.
Runner's high,
It's not specific to cold plunges. I want to make the claim that only doing the cold plunge will get you to be happy. You can be happy exercising, running, reading, playing the piano, whatever takes work will get you to have dopamine hits. It's just the cold plunge kind of hits you like a train.
So what you're saying is it's hard to get in.
It's very hard to get in. It's hard to get in. It's hard to get in every single time.
Getting in is the hard part, but what I really want to figure out and see is what I feel like after. So after I get in, I'm going to tell you guys exactly how I feel. And I trained really hard yesterday. My body hurts. My knees hurt. My back hurts. Actually, I hurt my back on Sunday, and it's been hurting really bad. So let's see if this helps me.
So 30 seconds. So I'll tell you every 30 seconds.
Okay. In 1997, when I lived in Japan, Tomoko, Miki, Ryu, Taka, and I, we went to Echigo-Yuzawa, which is a ski resort in Niigata, which is kind of like central Japan. And we went for a hike, and on that hike, we saw this beautiful like stream, like waterfall kind of stream, like this picturesque, ideal place where when you see it, you're like, oh, I want to jump in. And the water was ice cold. That was my first experience doing a cold plunge, and this water was ice cold. I think if I remember correctly, within 10 seconds of me getting into the waterfall, my whole body went completely numb. 10, 15 seconds later, it started to feel like my whole body was actually on fire. I was burning all over. It was a really, really weird, incredible sensation.
1 minute. You're 1 minute. Oh shit! Let's go. Oh man, that was tough.
So when's the best time? I train right now. I'm training 3 days a week, right? So when would be the best time to do a cold plunge if you're training? Like, should you do it before you train, after you train, the next day? What would you think is the best thing?
In my opinion, and what makes sense to me is to do it after you train.
Okay.
Right after you train.
Okay.
Right. If you do it before, you're ridging up your body.
Yeah.
We all know that we warm up before we roll. We warm up before we run. We always want to warm up.
Yeah.
We never get as cold as possible. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We have the ability, as soon as you can get it set up.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
After I work out, if I'm doing like a strength-based training, if I'm trying to build muscle, you're gonna want to wait a couple hours, 2 to 4 hours, right? Okay. If you're coming out of like a martial arts class, running, something like that, where your goal is not to build as much muscle as possible, right after, soon after, totally fine.
Oh, that's cool, yeah. And I love the way you got the mat here.
Yeah.
So you can do a jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah.
You can jump in to the cold plunge. That's really
Straight
cool.
to it. Straight to it. There's no waste time. Although one time I was filling up this cold plunge with new water and it was only at 55 degrees.
Yeah.
It usually gets down to 40, 45. And I got in at 55 degrees and it was cold enough. It got my breath to get taken away. It got me to get some adrenaline dumping in.
Yeah.
But then after a while, it kind of got a little too easy.
Yeah.
And I always wondered if it would ever get easy at 40 degrees. And I couldn't wait for the day that it was. I can't wait for the day where it was just gonna be easy. And then I realized if it's easy, there's no point to doing it.
So it never gets easy.
So it never gets easy and you don't want it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want it to. If it ever got easy, if it ever did, you would need to do something to make it harder.
So I know doing the cold plunge, there's 3 things that I read about that you gotta be careful. One is hypothermia, and I kind of talked about that at the beginning of the video. I don't want to die of hypothermia. Then, of course, the cardiovascular stress on your system and cold shock. So can you tell me a little bit about that? And have you ever had any experience like that with somebody?
With the cardiovascular system, what you want to make sure is that you do not have high blood pressure.
Okay.
If you have high blood pressure, and when you get into the water, your blood pressure is your heart rate is gonna spike. And if you have high blood pressure, you're gonna have a problem. You might have a heart attack. So before getting into the cold plunge, make sure you get that blood pressure down first. That's one thing you gotta worry about. Your hypothermia, if you stay in there long enough, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right? That's gonna be very hard to do in a controlled environment. Where we have if you're doing the cold plunge, most likely you're not in the lake. Or you're in a controlled environment where you can get out anytime you want. But if you stay in too long, past 10 minutes, I would start to, question, do you need to stay in after 10 minutes? Tomorrow's a new day, you're gonna do it again, do it safely.
And that's why I think the CDC, when the CDC talks about, and when I talked about 700 people who die a year from hypothermia, I think it's more an uncontrolled, like they're out in the ocean swimming and their core body temperature drops so low that they don't make it. So
And the other thing to prepare is just know what to expect. Know that you're going to want to get out. That's what I tell people all the time is expect the natural inclination, the smartest thing to do, what your body's telling you is to get out. That is something you should expect to be hearing very loud and clear and know that it's normal. And that is the reason why you're in there is to say no. I'm not going to get out. If you understand that and accept that, then staying in should be a little bit more manageable.
That was awesome. Okay. It's not that bad. I can do this every day.
Do it again.
You want to do it again? We didn't get it the first time.
Are you going to be a good shot? See the cherry on top, which I forgot to tell you what to do when you get out. Duck your head in.
Do I want to do this again? Okay, head duck.
See, now it doesn't feel so bad. Okay, head duck. Okay, head duck.
This is awesome, man. I feel so much better. I did a head dunk and my face felt like it was about to go numb. My hands feel great. Doing Aikido all the time and we do a lot of gripping. And on top of that, I'm doing rock climbing almost every day. And I put in the reps on the wall. So my hands do feel amazing. My knee is feeling better. My back is feeling better. This is something I can do every single day.